The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines a reenactor as a person who participates in reenactments of historical events. To me, that means I should know my history a bit before I go into the public and give interpretations of a soldier from the American Civil War. I feel that for me to give an inaccurate impression to the public would be a disservice to the men that served 150 years ago. So when I ended my first year of reenacting, I began to get into reading books, but not just in the battles and the generals. I started reading books of the men who did the fighting, the common soldier. I personally feel that every reenactor from the highest ranking officer to the lowliest private should read about the common soldier and what life was like for him during the war. Today, I wanted to show you my personal top 5 books I think every reenactor should be reading today. I picked these books because they are not just informative, but readily available to anybody and a great read. I will give a brief overview of what the book contains and why it is a very important book to read. I will also give information on where to find these books. Although one could find these books at the local library, remember, the library can be your most inexpensive tool for furthering your impression. The first book I will talk about is The Civil War Infantryman by Gregory A. Coco. This book is one of the shortest books of the 5. It is first because it gives a great introduction to what you will find further in the next few books. Those books go into greater detail than this one. I feel it is a great introduction book, and for my pards and I, a great first book for the beginning reenactor. I got my copy from my friend who found this copy on Amazon.com. He paid maybe no more than a couple of dollars for it, and he purchased one for himself as well. We both love the book, and anybody who comes to us looking to improve their impression is always told to buy this book. The next book is titled Hardtack and Coffee by John D. Billings. Mr. Billings was a veteran who served in the 10th Massachusetts Battery, and he had not read this book on what he did and the glories of his unit. And he instead wrote about the common Federal soldier and what he did and how he did it. He explains everything from a day in camp, Jonahs, beats, winter quarters, food, life on the march, and the Army mule. There is a huge wealth of information, and this book has become the Bible for progressives and hardcores alike. This book was originally written in 1887, and today is still being printed. Any bookstore should be able to find you a copy of it, and some sutlers do sell this book. I don't recommend buying much from the sutlers, but they do sell good books every once in a while. Your sutlers may vary compared to mine. The third and fourth book will be discussed together because they are very similar. Not just because they are both written by the same man, but that the key difference is one for the South and one for the North. They are The Life of Johnny Reb and The Life of Bill Yank by Belle Irvin Wiley. Mr. Wiley spent many years researching these books, and did this when some veterans were still living. He has gathered much information for the mouths of the soldiers and for the many letters and diaries of the soldiers who served. These books are widely available and can be either bought or borrowed. My first book in the common soldier was Life of Johnny Reb. It sparked a passion for me to improve my impression because at that time I was not that historically accurate. I read the book and found certain things in the book that I was told opposite from people who I assumed were right. I later left those individuals and pursued a more progressive approach to reenacting and began a journey that coincidentally mimicked the adventures of the main character of number 5. Corporal Cy Clegg and His Pard Shorties is one of my favorite books of all time. I'm not too much into fiction, but this book has many references to things that are important for reenactors to know. It was written by Wilbur F. Hinman, who served in Mr. Lincoln's Army. He wrote the story about a fictional character in a fictional unit from Indiana. He based it loosely on some of the experiences he and his pard shared during the war. He talked about the hardships one suffered while on campaign, as well as offering a bit of humor. It follows Cy from the day he enlists to coming home and after the war is through. I don't want to give too much away because I want you to read it for yourself and receive the same enjoyment I got when I read the book. I don't have a hard copy of the book, but one could find a free copy of it on Google Books. I liked it so much that I even got the Google Books app on my smartphone just so I had a copy of it with me everywhere I go. And I'm reading it again for the 4th time. Reading is fun and very important if you want to better your impression. The gear does not make the reenactor, it's the knowledge. I've met some reenactors who have really authentic gear and buy their stuff from only AC approved vendors, but don't have the know-how of a soldier from 150 years ago. These books will provide a powerful insight into the minds of the men from then, as well as plenty of how-to for Civil War reenactors.